Welcome to the French Drain Man channel. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood. We have a good one for you. I'm going to take you through it. Let me explain. Right here, we're going to do an open French drain. The sprinkler guy put the pipe over here for us, so do an open French drain and leave it stone right here. And then the landscaper will finish it off. Our French drain is over here. We did it last year. We got to dig our French drain up and we got to put new fabric on it. The pool company tore the fabric up and dirt's getting in the stone. You can start over here. You can see all the fabric that's tore up. You can see the drainage stone and the dirt getting in it. So we're going to have to put a new piece of fabric on top. And don't cover it. Leave it exposed. It goes the length here. We put it in last year. Right here, you want to start that open French drain again. It's going to be a hand dig. This all up. Dig this all up. Dig this all up. Get a French drain in there, guys. Come around here. Dig this up in this corner. Water's going to shed off this cement. This is going to be a problem. It's going to lay in here because the grade pitches this way and then the cement pitches this way. So let's take care of business. Let's do it. Let's do it right so we don't have to revisit this. Again, we have a grade pitch this way and we got cement pitch this way, guys. So go ahead and do that open French drain right along the cement. And that's the job. We have a whole house roof runoff system running through an open French drain. We're going to show you how to build an open French drain, and we're going to show you how to run your gutter downspouts in your French drain system. We have 5 downspouts in the back of this house, as well as all this sheet water every time it rains running off the pool yard cement deck. We want to catch and collect all that water, and we want to tie it into a French drain that we installed the year before behind this pool. I'm going to cover as many details in this video as I possibly can. In under 10 minutes, I'm going to give you guys everything you need to know to put a roof runoff system together inside a French drain system without compromising your French drain. Let's talk about the 2 different pipes that you're going to have when you're combining a French drain with a roof runoff system. A French drain has a perforated pipe. That pipe has holes in it. That pipe's designed to take in water and flow water through the void that the pipe creates in a bed of stone. Now, when you're running a roof runoff system, you want a solid pipe. You want to capture all the water, and you do not want to let it go. It is next to impossible to gather up all that water if you let that water go too soon. Always use a Y fitting when you're merging 2 downspouts. You want the direction of flow to continue freely, and you don't want to use a T because it just slams the water to a stop. Make sure you tape those Y fittings together so that you don't lose your water pressure in your roof runoff system. You need pressure to move shingle, gravel, and leaves. Okay, so everybody always asks, how do you start a French drain? With an end cap. Just put a cap on the pipe so it doesn't fill with stone. Now dig your trench wider where your downspout system is going to merge in with your French drain. You don't want to use the same pipe for your downspouts as you do your French drain because shingle, gravel, leaves, and tree seeds will plug those perforations and your French drain will have an early expiration date. We prefer round rock when building a French drain system. The round rock has bigger voids in between it. The bigger the voids, the more water you're going to flow. Notice how Cal is trimming all the excess fabric. You don't want a heavy overlap. You just want a couple inch overlap so you can take the fabric pins and pin the fabric to hold it together. But if you have excess fabric, trim it off because if fabric on fabric is layered, the water's not going to flow freely through the drainage fabric. You can see right here we just have a couple inch overlap, and right there we have the big voids in that round rock. People always want to know when building an open French drain, do you put the fabric on the top of the drain? In low flow applications we do. We don't want the dirt to fill the voids in the stone. Plugging the voids in the stone would prevent the water from being able to flow down into the pipe. So we want to keep those voids open and clean. Now, if we're building something that's really high flow, say this pool yard was 10 times the size and the sheet water was going to be 10 times as much, then we would consider not putting fabric on top of the French drain. The fabric does slow the water down a little bit. In a low flow application, it's not going to hold the water up. In a high flow, you might see some standing water before the fabric takes it all in. We have thousands and thousands of open French drains installed, and we build them this way each and every time. The water just flows through the stone, flows through the drainage fabric, into the French drain system, and they last forever. If you want to build a system that's going to last forever, this is a good blueprint. We like to put that stone on top to filter out really big debris like leaves. And it's just a nice, clean, finished look. And the water really flows freely through the stone. Now, the system that we replaced was a PVC system. And we don't like using PVC. We prefer corrugated pipe because PVC cracks. In the north, we have freeze-ups. And you can't avoid a freeze-up. You can't build around a freeze-up. You can't build yourself out of freeze-ups. I don't care how much slope you got. I don't care what pipe you use. In the north, ice builds up. All right, now is a really good time to take a blower or a broom and clean off the pool deck or driveway or sidewalk, whatever you're building an open French drain next to. Then put your fabric in. Work smarter, not harder. Now use the fabric pins that you're going to close the system up with once you get the pipe and stone in, and use it to hold the fabric back. You don't want the fabric to have wrinkles in it. You want to pull it nice and tight. It's going to work and perform much better if it's not all bunched up. Just put your fabric pins in every couple of feet. You can see the guys have the fabric pulled nice and tight, and it's not all bunched up. The water's going to run right through this fabric, into the stone, through the voids of the stone, and then fill that big void that the pipe creates down at the bottom of the French drain. All the bulk water is then going to travel through the system to the storm drain in the backyard. Now let me show you a downspout pipe entering the French drain system. You want to cut the fabric. You want to cut it, and you don't want to cut it oversized. You want to cut it to where you can just barely pull the pipe through. Now the dirt is not going to find its way into the French drain system and clog the voids in the stone, preventing the water from flowing freely. This is how you enter a French drain with a downspout pipe. And you want to keep that solid pipe next to your perforated pipe. Do not tie it in because it's going to fill your perforated pipe full of debris. And once those perforations are full of debris, the pipe won't take in water anymore. So always keep those two systems separate. We put a pop-up at the end of the downspout line right over the French drain. It's going to take in all the water. Now, the top of the fabric on the French drain we put in a year ago in the backyard got ripped up during the pool construction. So we went ahead and we cut that torn up, compromised fabric off the top and replaced it with new. You can see all the dirt filling in the voids of the stone. I don't understand how some contractors don't use fabric. Dirt will just plug your French drain without fabric. Build it right the first time. We ran our roof runoff system all the way to the very back of the yard before we ended it with a pop-up emitter. Because our roof runoff system is completely isolated from the French drain, and the only thing they have in common is we're sharing the trench with both systems. Because the roof runoff system is a solid pipe, it can't contaminate the French drain system. And because we have the French drain system wrapped in fabric, the dirt can't fill the voids of the stone, plugging the French drain, contaminating the French drain. One thing I can guarantee you, if you don't use fabric and if you don't use a separate pipe for your roof runoff system, you're going to have a short-lived French drain system. If you want a French drain to last forever, use the fabric so that it keeps filtering out all those debris and isolate your systems. Do not share your French drain pipe with your roof runoff system. Now, if you found any of this information helpful, give us a thumbs up. It supports the channel. And if you have any questions about this job, leave them in the comments section. We also replaced a broken pop-up in the front yard with one of our pop-ups. This will be the last pop-up the homeowner ever has to have. If you do it right the first time, you won't have to revisit it later. Our indestructible pop-up set at dirt level lasts forever. The turf restrictor plate around this pop-up prevents the grass from growing over the pop-up, allowing the system to always daylight so you don't have a failed roof runoff system. All right, everybody. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until that next video.